Hello, my friends, and welcome to an entirely new review. One of which you were seeing right here in front of your faces, and this was taken off my PS4. But since I did share a bit of it on my Facebook page, well, this is what you're seeing right now as far as what has been going on with Gundam as far as this is concerned. Now, this is going to be a double review because I'm going to cover two games at the same time, and both are related to Gundam. Now, the first game that I have in my PS4 collection is Gundam Versus. Gundam Versus is basically a 3-on-3 battle, just like the classic arcade version of Mobiles of Gundam, or or um, or actually, more importantly, Gundam versus Zeta Gundam. It pretty much is like that, except that it's more expansive because it's not only covering just because you're not only covering just certain parts of the UC, the Universal Colony, but you're covering mostly all of it, all of the universe of Gundam. So in Gundam Versus, you are dealing with 0079, 0083, Wing G, Thunderbolt X, Turn A, Age, Iron Blood Orphans. You're basically dealing with the entirety of all that is Gundam in Gundam Versus. And like I said, the one thing that I have to point out is the fact that you can pretty much play as just about every Gundam, but the only thing you have to do is constantly level in order to unlock more. And like I said, it plays exactly like the older games where you did 3-on-3, you versus the computer or versus another player. Except that with online capabilities as they are, you can play with more than just one player. You could do a straight up 3-on-3. I think that's what it is. You just do a straight up 3-on-3. New Gundam Breaker it's about the same, but I will get to that in a moment. But two people from the series, I believe, both of them were designers of the Gundams themselves. They passed away this year. I will have their names. I will have their names in the description, the video description below. But like I said, 2018 as it was really dealt a heavy blow to the anime industry. And since there are many people who have been around pretty much after all this, yeah, it was just their time. But to those two who have been in the Gundam series for so long, doing the design work and everything, rest easy. This series is still going strong even without your capable hands at work, so you can rest easy. But Gundam Versus is one of those kind of games you can actually just get into and not worry about, story or anything. I mean, you basically want to level your characters just so you can get more out of, more out of your Gundam or whatever else you choose to. So that means you can unlock other pilots, you can unlock strikers, you can unlock logos. You can even unlock announcers or your wingmen. You can unlock other wingmen, so it is possible for you to do that, and unlock other navigators as well. So therefore, the sky's the limit as far as how far you want to take it. But I would only say you can only play that game for so long, then boredom sets in. So if you feel like you need to throw down with some friends or just go online with it, please. Gundam Versus is one of those types of games. If you are a die-hard Gundam fan, this one is for you. And on top of that, there were a few tracks that they put in. One such track that I've heard while I was playing it during my time with the game is the theme song to Mobile Suit Gundam. And that basically, to me, just put a little smile on my face, just because that's the one that you hardly hear, even by Super Robot Tyson standards. You hardly ever hear that piece ever played in any other game outside of Super Robot Tyson. Even in the other Gundam games that came out for Famicom and Super Famicom, and even with the arcade games, you hardly ever heard any piece from Gundam. And I mean, there are a few iconic pieces, even with Char. Even his piece, you hardly ever hear that, which is called Char the Great. But like I said, you hardly ever hear it, but when you do, it's iconic. But like I said, if you have, I'm not sure if it's on Steam, but I am pretty certain it is on PS4. So if you have PS4, by all means, go hook yourself up some mobile suits, throw down with a Heat Hawk or a Beam Saber, and just roll with it. I mean, it only makes sense. So that's my thoughts about Gundam Versus. And in a moment, I will share my thoughts about New Gundam Breaker. Give me a moment. Now, sorry about that. The second review in this two-part Gundam video is, well, you see this picture right here. This is from another game I have in my PS4 collection called New Gundam Breaker. Now, imagine, if you will, Gunpla. Gunpla is basically what is the biggest boom in Japan ever since. It's basically like a Create or Whatever. That's basically what it is. It's basically a Create or Whatever, but this is bigger than a Create or Whatever, because not only has this been a big thing in Japan, but there have been multiple competitions and whatnot, and this is probably this is probably the only one I've ever actually made. And let me go into the story of what Gundam Breaker is about. You play as a transfer student. You meet your childhood friend and her friends. They have an issue with the student council, which is run by nothing but a bunch of douchebags. It is up to you to basically set everything right and bring back the fun that is Gunpla back to the student body, because they're going by this rule that might makes right. Rank and whatnot. That sort of thing. Almost like with online gaming. Rank means this and that and whatnot. Reputation and whatnot. All that mess. But in Gundam Breaker, as you can see, well, as you can tell, basically I made my Gundam of different parts. Like basically Johnny Ritten, Musha Gundam, the GPO2 from Stardust Memory. A bit of there's a bit of Victory Gundam in there in the face. I gave it a bit of Bolt Gundams. I gave it Bolt Gundams, horns, and Dragon Gundams, Dragon hands. And I gave it a heat hawk, in which normally I would give it a beam saber, but the heat hawk, as far as I know, delivers much more damage than the beam saber. And it does have a name. I call it the Strider Black Gundam. Or if we're going to talk shop, I basically base it off of this. GVRX78. Because originally it really was an RX78. But like I said, it's basically based off of G Gundam, Victory Gundam, the RX78. Maybe a hint of Zeta Gundam. A hint of from Mobile Suit Gundam V. I mean, basically, this is my Gundam. This is the one I use in combat when I went through the entirety of the story mode. I have not finished the rest of the story mode, though. The funny thing is, when I was just playing through it, I just found that I like customizing. And this game is basically nothing but that. You customize you customize your mobile suit the way you want it to. Because like I said, you don't have to stick with normal. The more parts you get, the more your Gundam is going to take shape, however you want to make it look. So basically, I took a bit of Musha Gundam, took a bit of Johnny Ritten stuff. I took a bit of G Gundam stuff. Gave it a Heat Hawk. I even changed the beam saber. I mean, not the beam saber, but the beam rifle, which is not seen here. But I gave it the code name Aldebaran, just because it was the first thing that popped in my head because I thought of Saint Seiya, and one of the gold saints was called Aldebaran. So I said, well, you know what? I'll just call him Aldebaran Gundam. Instead, like I would really call him Strider Black RX, but I said, well, you know what? Code name would be Aldebaran, so this is Aldebaran. I like to call it that. But like I said, I've had fun with this more than I've had fun. I mean, I've played a couple of games during my time off season, in between games and let's plays and whatnot. So this is one. So like I said, combining two games into one into one review because I am reviewing two games instead of just me just doing back to back. No, it's both Gundam related, so why not? It makes sense. But like I said before, if you are a fan of Gundam, either you have a choice of playing Gundam Versus or Gundam Breaker. Gundam Breaker is more story related than, Gundam Versus because Gundam Versus is like 3-on-3. Gundam Breaker is basically 3-on-3 with story. Different stories, but still you go through them and you gain more parts as you do so. The story is still the same, just the characters are different, and you get different characters. And the only thing about new Gundam Breaker is you do get like 3 routes to take, but you're still going through the same story, just different angles through different characters. I kind of wish there was more to it, like you had a choice in which way you can go. Like you don't have to be with the main characters. You could be with different clubs. Like the ones I've dealt with, like they had some weird ones. Like the Shield of Laplace, which is a reference to Unicorn. The Airbrush of Zeta, which is also a reference to Zeta Gundam. Yours is called Size Zero. If I had my way, I would have called it White Base or White Fang or something that strikes fear into the heart of the student council. But technically, that's all it is. That's all you're really dealing with. You were dealing with different parts of. Oh yeah, there was another one called Golden Cosmos, which I swear would sound almost like it sounded like Saint Seiya. But they do mention references to other Gundam series like one of your friends, your childhood friend, mentions that she was binge watching Gundam X. Or another one would say, "Oh, I've been watching Iron Blooded Orphans." I said, for me, I'm like, I don't know about y'all, but I've been binge watching Stardust Memory. I would fit right in. Like, I've been watching Stardust Memory, G Gundam, Kido Senshi Gundam, 0079, Gundam the Origin. I would fit right in with that. But it's like I have 3 games that are really like that. The other one is Soul Calibur 6, and I will mention Soul Calibur 6 in a different view because it works about the same way. But you will love the character I basically put together for the mission mode per se, because there's difference between a story mode and mission mode. Because they always have this thing that's something like, like basically, like the like Soul Master, Edge Master mode. That's what they call it. Because they always change up Edge Master mode into something else. So you got the story / arcade mode, and then you got the Edge Master mode, and this time they made it into something totally different. But back to the subject at hand. If you were ever curious about the Gundam series, this is a good way to get into the Gundam series. You don't have to really worry about where you could start. You don't have to worry about how to fit in with the series. I mean, that's a problem I've always found with most most people who say, "Oh, I watched Gundam," or I don't know where I can start." Like, you don't really have to start anywhere. You really don't. I mean, if you really want meat and potatoes, watch the movies, because the movies will actually just tell you everything that you need to know about the 1 Year War from both factions. Because there's the older version, and then there's the newer version. So therefore, you have both sides. You can actually watch. But if you're gonna do it in order, just go like the movies first, then the series, or you can skip the series, or you can skip certain series, but you can still watch certain ones that appeal to you. That's all you really have to do. Is your taste may vary. That's all I have to say about Gundam. Your taste may vary. But aside from that, I mean, I've been enjoying this game. I've been enjoying both games, but I really been enjoying Gundam Breaker though. Only because it just feels different. It's not like, oh hey, I'm unlocking Gundams. No, no, you're doing something more. You're actually making yours. So the thing is, your main character is basically the code name of your Gundam too. So it's like, oh hey, you're like the default name was Kyosuke until I just changed it to Izzy. It's like, oh hey, this is your Gundam, Izzy. I'm like, really? Really? You just don't give me a chance to give it an actual name? So basically, I just flat out called it what it should be called, which is Aldebaran. I just thought about it. I was like, give it a name that would make sense. So Aldebaran sort of makes sense because, well, look at him. I mean, it still has mobility and power and all that. And I gave it a decent background that only says, you can, this is quite the setup. But like I said before, if you ever want to get into Gundam, but you don't know how to, I would think for a newer generation, just go watch the Gunpla, the Gundam build. That's what they call it, Gundam build. The Gundam build anime, because there is an anime based off of the hype that is Gunpla. And the funny thing about it is the high school that you're going into is called Gumbra. So it's Gunbre, Gumbra, which sounds like Gunpla. I mean, all in all, it's a good series. It's a good series. It's like one of those series that it's like with J Gundam. It's one of those series you just need to take your brain out and just enjoy the story for what it's worth. It's crazy. It makes no sense, but you will enjoy it just because it's crazy and make no sense. And like I said, all that there is technically in there. So it's like the references and what. I just say, well, okay. Cause it seems like almost everybody makes that. Just make a reference to every other Gundam series. It's like a love letter to the series, really. But for what it's worth, though, if you are into mechs like I am, or if you're into cause, create whatever, this is a good game in which you can just basically create your Gundam. Create your own Gundam, like I've created Aldebaran here. And, see what it develops and, have fun with it when you go online. Don't worry about ranking and whatnot. It's all about having fun. Okay? So I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, and this was a double review of Gundam. So thank you for watching and listening, and I shall see you around with even more great content. Stick around, there's more to be shown right after this. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, drop a comment, like, and subscribe, and hey, enjoy. I'll see you next time.